Out in the vast expanse of the ocean, a team of Navy divers embarked on a bold mission to retrieve a sunken airplane resting on the ocean floor. With anticipation running high, they descended into the depths, their excitement tinged with a hint of trepidation. Little did they know, their discovery would unleash shockwaves through their souls, forever altering their perception of the past. Jake, a recent addition to the Navy, gazed at the plane as it emerged from the water. He brimmed with excitement for this mission, but found himself overwhelmed with questions. As Jake and his team located an entrance and ventured inside the plane one by one, their surprise grew. Instead of answers, they encountered mysteries that only deepened their intrigue. What had transpired with this aircraft? Jake had to admit that he was feeling a bit excited. He had just joined the Navy and was sent out on his first big mission, pulling an airplane from the sea. It all felt so serious and special to Jake, and in a way, it was. You see, the plane had suddenly disappeared off the radar, but what made it even weirder was that it had just as suddenly appeared in the sky. Jake and his team set out to sea in the early morning, and soon they made it to their destination. He looked around, finding it all very interesting. Using sonar and acoustic imaging, they were able to map out the entire ocean floor of the area, and sure enough, they spotted something. There was no doubt about it. It was the airplane, lying there on the bottom of the sea, waiting to be found. The ship they were on was huge, and it even had a crane. They needed it to pull the plane out of the water, but they needed to be careful. It was their goal to get the plane out of the water in one piece, without breaking or damaging it. So Jake and his team took the attachment chains and attached them to the crane. The operator then slowly lowered the chains into the ocean, waiting for a sign from the divers. When they were done, they gave the operator the sign to lift the plane. As the operator placed the plane on the platform, they heard a loud noise. One of the emergency exit doors slid open. Jake and his colleagues looked at each other with wide eyes. They all knew what that meant, and it was something they had not expected. Somebody had jumped out of this plane before it crashed into the water. But how many people had jumped? Where had they landed? And most importantly, were they still alive? Once they were inside, they took a look around and immediately noticed something odd. This didn't feel right to any of them. What had happened in here? They were so surprised because the plane was completely empty. They hadn't expected to find any living passengers. That would be difficult after the plane had been underwater for so long. But there were no bodies inside it either. There had to be an explanation for this. Where had they gone? They knew one thing for sure, and that was that one of the emergency exits had been opened before the plane crashed into the water. The divers hadn't seen any signs of this, but the door must have been pushed closed by the pressure of the water. As they searched the plane, they realized that not many passengers must have been inside. Jake walked over to the back of the plane, and then he saw it. He blinked a few times to make sure he wasn't imagining anything, but it didn't disappear. He turned pale and quickly called his team to come over. It was a huge box, locked with many chains around it. Whatever was inside, someone didn't want it to be found. That much was obvious. As Jake and his team prepared to investigate the box, they couldn't shake off the feeling of delving into a narrative much larger than themselves. They decided to start a deeper dive, not just into the waters, but into the history of the plane's last known flight. Records were pulled, and old flight manifests were requested. Each sailor knew they were at the cusp of a mystery that spanned more than the ocean's depth. While waiting for the flight records, the team pored over old newspapers and digital archives, searching for any mention of the plane or potential passengers. Each article read like an echo from the past, whispering secrets that Jake felt compelled to understand. Among the snippets of information, one article stood out, a mention of a prominent businessman's sudden disappearance roughly a decade ago. Jake could see his teammates growing impatient, the energy aboard the ship becoming as dense and heavy as the water surrounding them. Finally, a breakthrough came in the form of a faded flight logbook discovered in a forgotten archive. The logbook's brittle pages contained entries that matched the time period of the mysterious plane's disappearance. The logs revealed an unlisted flight, one that had no recorded departure or destination. As they prepared to open the box, the sailors felt the gravity of their discovery. This wasn't just about a plane. It was about people, about lives that had been touched by whatever lay within. They were no longer just sailors. They were custodians of a story that needed to be told. With a mix of caution and curiosity, the team decided to unlock the mysterious box. With caution, The team opened the box to reveal a trove of documents and personal items. Photos, letters, and journals spilled out, hinting at the lives of those who had once occupied the plane. As the team sifted through the items in the box, they stumbled upon a revelation that left them in stunned silence. One of the documents mentioned a name that had been shrouded in mystery for over a decade. The revelation sent shockwaves through the crew as they realized the true identity of the plane's owner. The team's realization that the plane belonged to a person of great notoriety and mystery left them in a state of shock. The implications were profound. The missing millionaire, believed to have disappeared for over a decade, was somehow linked to this sunken plane. Their mission had taken an unexpected turn, and they were now tasked with uncovering the truth about the millionaire's disappearance. The Navy crew knew they had to act swiftly. The discovery of the missing millionaire's connection to the plane raised numerous questions and concerns. The team began tracking the flight path of the Enigma IC plane. They meticulously reconstructed its journey, trying to understand how it had ended up on the ocean floor. Delving into the missing millionaire's past was a crucial part of the investigation. The team sought to uncover the enigmatic figure's history, motivations, and any connections that could explain his disappearance. The investigation began to bear fruit. The enigma surrounding the disappearance of the wealthy individual slowly unraveled amidst the evolving narrative. Jake's personal odyssey underwent a profound transformation, evolving from a young, inexperienced recruit into a resilient, resourceful team member. As the investigation reached its climax, the fate of the missing millionaire was unveiled, illuminating a narrative fraught with intrigue, secrecy, and unforeseen turns. The truth proved both astonishing and unsettling, reshaping the trajectory of the mission and the lives of all involved. With their inquiry concluded, the team presented their findings to higher authorities. The long-standing mystery was at last unraveled, providing closure to the families of the missing passengers and the absent millionaire. The aircraft, long shrouded in secrecy, now stood as a symbol of resilience, determination, and unwavering pursuit of truth.